So MCLA this semester has been a combination. So probably the largest part of the classes have been hybrid, with students like half attending for one day of the week in person, and then that half attending remotely on the second day, while the other half attends in person. But then some of the classes are small enough that they met fully in person, socially distanced, of course, and some courses were fully online. So, yep, and yeah, at University of Tennessee, was it similar?
Yeah, it's pretty much similar. I would say majority are online, but some classes are doing half, hybrid.
Yeah.
So yeah, so but all my students we do research project, we are all online, virtually. We don't, yeah, in person.
Yep. Yep. Well, we're all hoping that everyone will be vaccinated and that fall semester is going to be much more normal. I'm sure it would be nice. Yeah. We'll give folks, I just see that people are joining. I'm happy to see again some of the folks that join us every week. I see my students have joined. So we'll give everyone just a minute more, and then I will welcome everyone and we'll get into it. I'll say I was saying before that if you're joining us from anywhere around Western Massachusetts, you probably have a beautiful day, and I think a lot of people are out enjoying this 70-degree day in April here. So I think that with that, if it's all right with you, Chien fei, I will go ahead and do my welcome, and then we'll get started. All right, so I would like to welcome you all back to tonight's Green Living Seminar webinar, our virtual presentation. I think most of you know me by now, Elena Traister, Professor of Environmental Studies here at MCLA. So this semester in the Green Living Seminar, we've been listening to presentations that have focused around the theme of individual actions and environmental sustainability. These webinars are always free and open to the public, and they have been taking place on Wednesdays at 5:30. You can register for upcoming presentation online at www.mcla.edu/greenliving, one word. And there you can also find a link to our YouTube channel where you can find videos of our previous presentations. Today's presentation will also last about 40 to 45 minutes, and then it'll be followed by a question and answer session. You'll see that there's a little Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and that'll remain open the whole time. You're welcome to put a question in there anytime, and then we'll hold those until the end when we will get to them. And so I would like to mention that next week is actually our final presentation in this series this semester. Wednesday, April 14th, Dr. Elizabeth R. DeSomber, Camilla Chandler Frost Professor of Environmental Studies at Wellesley College, will present a lecture titled Individual Behavior and Global Environmental Problems to wrap up this semester's series. Today's presentation, Factors Influencing Household Energy Efficiency, will be given by Dr. Chien fei Chen, Director of Education and Diversity and Research Associate at University of Tennessee. We are so happy to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you so much. And so my name is Chien fei Chen. I am from Engineering Research Center, funded by NSF and DOE, and this is pretty much a center about power grid, renewable energy, and I'm the only social scientist in the team because, as you know, social and demographics are important factors influence technology adoption. So today I'm going to present you a lot of information, and then hopefully you will also enjoy the nice day and then find my talk interesting because I'm going to give you a lot of real studies results, and we have found in during the COVID-19 and then also in the past. So let's see. Oh, All right, so a little bit about my education background. I have 3 degrees. My undergraduate degree was in Taiwan, received in Taiwan, and I used to study English literature and theater, that kind of thing. And then I jumped into my master's degree in communications. I actually have television production and media experiences. So I worked in TV and public relationships for 6 years before I continued my PhD in sociology. And I got my graduate degrees at Washington State University. So my research focus on environmental sociology and focus on social psychological factors because I believe everything inside your mind and also surrounding your environment can influence your behavior, pro-environmental behaviors. I also interested in renewable energy adoption, looking for the future. What are the factors influence all of us energy adoptions, technology adoptions? And I also interested in energy justice issues. I'm going to show you a lot of study finding in my recent work. And so today I'm going to talk to you about income differences, basically low income, medium income, high income. How does it affect energy adoption, behavior, climate change perceptions, technology adoption during the COVID-19? And I'm going to jump into energy burdens and energy justice issues during the pandemic and then also in the past as well. Another interesting study is about electric vehicle adoption. I know you have this talk before, but my approach is a little bit different and I hope you will find it interesting. Finally, we are going to talk about behavior change. Behavior change is important for environmental behavior, energy efficiency, any kind of carbon emission reductions. And then I'm going to show you a study about what kind of messages are effective for people to change behaviors. All right, so let's jump into COVID-19. During this time, we have conducted 3 big studies, and one study is about energy usage pattern and a home energy management systems. And it seems it will be in the future, the technology already here, but the thing is not every household adopt energy management system. It's kind of a well-rounded home devices you can use for monitoring your energy usage and then incorporate with renewable energy sources and demand response as well. And then I also study social psychological factors and related to energy usage. And this study was conducted in New York during the early pandemic, which was last March 2020, we have 632 residents data collected. Another study we just collected, well, not just November, December 2020. We also collect the internet burdens, energy usage burdens, sorry, there's a typo, and a social, psychological, and demographic study in California and Florida, because these 2 states are very diverse, very different. So we'd like to see what people think. We collect close to 2,000 residents' data. Another study we did was a big data analysis. Nowadays, people like to use big data. We merge several data sets to analyze energy justice, energy burdens, social vulnerability index, like looking at which neighborhood has vulnerable index. And that index has a lot of criteria, and then also COVID-19 health indicators across the United States. And this study we currently are still in the process of analyzing because it's mentioned so many data sets in terms of COVID deaths, COVID test, hospitalizations data set. So it's a pretty big analysis and a lot of work. I have published 2 articles related to COVID. If you are interested, I can send it to you, or you can just Google it. And right now, I just got accepted last week. Renewable Energy Sustainable Energy Reviews is all about this work. I'm going to present some of the results to you. All right. Let's talk about the New York studies. Basically, we asked, their daily routine. When do people most use energy the most? The time. We want to look at what is the pattern during the COVID-19. What's their climate change perception? Do they think it's better or worse? What's their risk perception about getting COVID? How does this affect people's energy usage and also their intention and willingness to pay for home energy management system during the COVID-19. Particularly, we are looking at low income, medium income, and high income differences. So, and we also look at some of the interesting factors, for example, trust in utility companies, because during this time, a lot of low-income people could not afford utility bills. And so we want to know how their perception about their relationship with utility companies. Do utility companies provide best support to them? What are the people's environmental concerns, and what do the people talk about data privacy, cybersecurity during this time? Because most people stay home, they probably don't think about this kind of issues. And so we want to see the more people use energies at home, what kind of all these social psychological factors influence their behaviors or not. All right. So here's what we found in New York study during March 2020, and we asked, so what do you think your electricity usage was it increase or decrease about average or higher than normal? So this is earlier pandemic, as you can tell from the left-hand side, about 42 people actually think about the same. And then 38 people think their usage was higher. So if you look at the people's pattern of energy usage, and you can see that there's no clear rush hour or peak hours of using electricity. So basically people use electricity from 8 a.m. and increase and decrease a little bit all the way till 10 p.m. So this is pretty much consistent with a lot of studies in Europe or in other countries. Obviously, people staying home, so it's important to look at what people, their pattern of use energy. So then, that we can deal with the power grid issues. All right. So in terms of income differences, we found there are different perceptions about people's different groups' perception about their energy usage. So low-income people think that they use about the same, or they use lower than average. However, higher income groups do think they use more energy than before. All right, so we also asked about how much people are willing to pay for home energy management system during this time to reduce environmental impacts, to control their appliance usage. And home energy HEMS is an automatic devices can automate, control your appliances. And then they can provide a visualization of your electricity usage. So we found about 23% of participants, they really don't want to pay for any services during this time, sorry. And then about also 23% or 25%, they actually want to pay more for this kind of services. So we also asked about their income differences, low income, medium income, and high income group to see what are the differences in terms of their willingness to pay. And then overall average higher income, of course, they are going to willing to pay for this kind of services than low income and medium incomes. However, if you look at low income group and the high income group, they actually are willing pretty much the same, percentage in terms of how much they are willing to pay for this kind of services. If you look at the $6 or more, the basic monthly fee, low income, high income actually are about the same. And in terms of HAMS can also serve well-being services, for example, telemedicine through HAMS devices or community update. Of course, this have to connect it to internet and job searching. So it's additional service to provide the well-being, like basically in terms of in addition to electricity usage and monitor. And so as you can tell, low-income people group that actually really were interested in the telemedicine. So if you look at this percentage, they really, although the payment for the for these devices is still lower than other income. However, the low income people would really think this is a very useful devices for them. And so during the pandemic, actually this home energy management system can enhance other well-being services. So this is the purpose of our study. And then we think that willingness to pay is more accurate measure than intention, adoption intention, because a lot of people say, I would like to adopt, but if you ask them, are you willing to pay for these services? They may not be willing to. So we think willingness to pay is another step to measure intention, adoption intention. All right, so we also discovered that perceived climate change issues during this early pandemic last year in New York are a little bit interesting here in terms of income groups. So basically, low income group think pandemic is about the same, and higher income, medium income, actually they think it's much better than before. So I'm going to show you the result later. So how does it perceive climate change issue a little bit better and worse can influence people's adoption of technology, and then also their perception about electricity usage during this time. So we have found that low income, higher income people think that they will use more electricity usage. However, during this time, they think that the climate change is actually better. So we were very curious about why this, the possible reasons. However, we did not, have this. This is also a survey, so it's not an open-ended question. So it's something people can continue to explore. All right. So another interesting perspective is we asked how people likely to get COVID in the next 2 months. And during early pandemic, 2020, we actually kind of see a trend that a lot of people, about 44% think they will have less than 10% of getting COVID. So it's about a little bit more, half of the people think they will get COVID, but more chances to get COVID than this 44% of less than 10% of getting COVID. Of course, this data would be different when you ask right now. And we also look at the low income, medium income, and high income differences, divide them and see what their chances of getting COVID-19 in April and May. And we found this interesting result that low income groups actually think they are less likely to get COVID than higher and middle income groups. So this is something we found it was interesting. We don't know why, but we just found this interesting, and then we are going to plug into regression analysis later, and I'll show you the result later. So we put climate change perception, risk perceptions, and then how this is related to HAMS adoptions. And then we found risk perception actually positive related to HAMS adoption, and in terms of energy features and well-being features. Well-being was telemedicine, job search, community updates, and then also are positive related to wellness, so to pay. And so the more they think they are getting COVID, they are more likely to adopt this technology. Basically, this is the finding we found. And climate change has no relationship with the HAM's adoption intention and then also wellness to pay. This is probably thinking that people probably stay at home the most when they perceive higher risk of getting infections, and they probably think HAMs can reduce their energy consumptions. We also put all kind of factors together in terms of demographics, age, gender, income, household size, risk perception, adoption intentions, and then also their attitude towards hands, and then also perceived behavior control, meaning that they believe they can change energy behaviors, social norms, how much they think HAMS is useful, and how easy this technology is, what is the cost, technology anxiety, cybersecurity, do they concern people hacker will hack into their home energy management system, trust in utility companies, all this factor together. We run this regression analysis, and then we divided different kind of features like telemedicine, assistant seniors, community updates, and home securities. So on the green highlights here are the significant factors. So I'm not going to read through all of this, but in terms of the results, attitudes toward energy HAMS is a positive relation predictors among all the features. And then something interesting is anxiety. Technology anxiety actually influence people's adoptions intention in terms of this different kind of features. Older people are less willing to adopt. Higher income are more likely to adopt. So all this kind of assume, pretty natural findings. And then also household size. The more people you have in a household, the more likely to adopt these technologies. Trust in utility company is very interesting. We found there's a positive relationship between how much people trust their utility companies and influence the likelihood to pay for these devices in terms of telemedicine, assistant senior, and community updates. So this finding tells us that trust in utility companies serve an important factors in terms of promoting home energy management system. So yeah, I just say what I say here. So overall trust in utility companies was lower overall, regardless of the income groups during this pandemic. However, we found higher income groups actually more likely to trust their utility providers than other groups, meaning low income and medium incomes. There was no relationship between cybersecurity concern. People are still not thinking about cybersecurity, data privacy issue because they are not at work, or they don't think that people will, use their data, the smart meter data, home energy data. So there's no relationship. People don't think this is connected or important to them. And in terms of low income and medium incomes, we found that they are more likely to think that this technology is more difficult to use than higher income groups. It could be their interest, literacy in terms of energy or technology, interest in technology. We don't know, but this is our results. Another thing is that we found that lower and medium low income groups, and they actually think this is less useful than higher income groups. So this is some of the interesting finding here, but we welcome other researchers and people to continue to explore the reasons why people think this way. All right, next I would like to jump into energy justice issues. And before that, I will present some of the findings from before, and then we'll connect to the study we did during COVID-19. Okay, so this is an overall framework of our energy justice research. And basically, in terms of justice, we are talking about whether people can access to the technologies and whether people can afford the technology. So affordability is an issue, and sustainability, any kind of sustainability issue related, can we serve all the vulnerable populations? And then finally is resiliency, because during crisis, natural disaster, COVID situations, can people still enjoy what they are supposed to enjoy, like electricity, stability? So this is something we analyze from micro level to macro level, meaning that individual household level until the energy policies or power grid structures, so that's more macro level. And for us, we focus on social, psychological, and then also demographics analysis. So this is kind of overall framework. We did several studies, and one study we used a national representative data set, residential energy consumption survey. This is a representative data set with a median of households, and represented median household, because it's a randomly select sampling, and it was close to 6,000 households. We divide them into low income, medium income, and high income, and represent 43 median household, 55.4 medium household, medium income household, and then also 19.8 medium of high income groups. And we basically looking at all the demographics factors, and then also appliances usage, space heating, air conditioning, lighting, energy efficiency, appliances, energy starts, smart grid technologies, energy practice, how people change their thermostats, and energy assistance programs. I welcome you to look at this data set, because a lot of researchers, including engineers, environmental studies, and social scientists have been using this data set. All right, so I just want to present you some of the interesting findings we found. We actually found low-income people pay higher utility bills per square footage because their houses are less efficient. They use less efficient appliances, and then also they are less likely to have better installations or weatherization programs, that kind of thing. And if you look at the energy efficiencies program, they have a low-income group has a lower percentage in terms of participating in free or subsidized home energy audit programs. And they also have lower percentage of utility or energy appliances rebate programs, recycling or all appliances or equipment, or tax credit for the new appliance and equipment. So as you can tell, this has to do with a lot of awareness of energy efficiency, and then also how all this program make it more accessible to low-income groups. And as you can tell from this table here, up here, there were a lot of, you probably cannot imagine, probably never met a person who don't have utility at home. I do. I met somebody actually don't have utility at home. So, but she would not tell me how she get the electricity. I don't know whether it's burning something, or so it's very, very difficult for low-income groups. Like here, as you can tell, the data, they almost compared to low income and medium income, high income, they don't have sufficient heating or cooling almost all the time, or receive a disconnected notice about 1 or 2 months that they are higher low income group, higher than medium and a higher income, or they reduce foregoing expenses for basic needs, household needs, and higher income group. A lower income group have higher chances to get this kind of, they have to basically foregoing other needs to pay for their utility bills. All right, so we also found very interesting in terms of behaviors, thermostat behaviors. So on the left-hand side, we look at the just a basic, thermostat, and when we look at the low income, medium income, and high income, there are different behaviors, and low income group tend to set one temperature and leave it all the time. Because if you set one temperature, leave it all the time, you will consume more energies. And if you look at high income group, they know how to do automatic adjust. They can, for some reason, they have higher percentage of knowing how to do that. Then we also look at the programmable thermostats. We also found that the same pattern, low income group, 51% of low income group would set one temperature and leave it all the time. So basically they don't turn it on and off whenever they need it, or when they go to bed, maybe adjust their temperature, or when they leave home. So this tells us that there are income differences in terms of thermostat control and the thermostat heating and cooling behaviors that will influence people's utility bills. And we also look at the thermostat setting points, and low income groups, especially renters, they are more likely to set higher temperatures during the winter time. So they are heating, actually their heating bills a little bit, not total bill per square footage is higher, not the total bill. Total bill, higher income, of course, their houses is bigger and they are going to pay more. However, the set points, low income groups tend to have a higher temperature during this time, winter time. We also examined the smart grid technologies differences in terms of income groups. We found that smart meters, whether they have more smart meter at home, higher income group and medium income group have higher percentage of smart meters at home. That's kind of not surprising. And in terms of access to smart meter data, whether they can access the smart meter data or whether they view the smart meter data, again, low income group tend to have that chance to access and then also view their smart meter data. And smart meter thermostat ownership, higher income have higher percentage. So this tells us that lower income group has lower percentage of accessibility to smart grid technologies. All right, so I'm going to jump into this energy bills and utility bills during COVID-19, because I talk about all these behavior differences across income groups using other data set. So now that's linked to the recent studies during early pandemic in New York. Same study I just introduced, I break down this section is specific talking about utility bills. So let's see how much different groups pay for their utility bills. So let's look at the trend. Low income group pay for lower utility bills. Higher income groups pay for higher income utility bills. That's not surprising. All right, so however, if we compare to their incomes, we call energy burdens. We take utility bills divided by their monthly incomes, and we found that lower income group actually proportionally pay more in terms of utility bills. And as you can tell, the left-hand side, the number range, from 3% to 10%. It depends on which category of the utility bills. And so on average, average energy burdens for low income in New York was 4%. However, higher income was only 1.85%. We divided by 4 groups because it's really difficult to divide just a big chunk of medium group. And so we have lower, medium, and upper medium groups. So I think this will present a clear picture about the income group differences in terms of energy burdens. So we also asked about low-income groups, like what kind of people they definitely need utilities for their medical needs for heating and coolings, and we found 13% of our group actually report their medical needs actually affected by heating and cooling during this time, and only 3% of medium and high income report so. So basically, we are saying that energy burdens is very critical, and then issues for low income people, especially those people who they are disabled, they need more medical needs affected by heating and cooling. All right, so let's move to California, and I won't present Florida data because it's pretty similar trend. So this is April 2020, and low-income group, again, low-income medium group, and they pay for different utility bills, and the overall higher and medium income, they pay for more bills than this low-income groups, as you can tell each group. And then we divide utility bills, and then by people's energy, their household income. And we have California, Florida, and also was collected last November in terms of the energy bills in April. We asked people to remember back their April bills. And that was based on almost 2,000 participants. And as you can tell, similar to New York data, although a little bit different, but the percentage is about 3% to 2.25% to 10% of energy burden. So this is something I think energy policy, people should pay attention to energy burdens during pandemic, and then also like natural crisis as well. All right, so that was a more individual household level. Next, I'm going to present more like county levels and like neighborhood levels of energy burden, energy justice. And in this study, we explore not just utility bills. We look at social economics, health indicators, community vulnerabilities, and all this more macro level analysis. So let me present just three key variables. One is a community vulnerability index, and meaning that this index has socioeconomic status, house composition, disability, minority status, house type, and transportation, and something related to COVID health system factors. And then we also plug in COVID-19 cases and deaths, and then also energy burdens. We use a big data set and then estimate the energy burden for low income during the pandemic. All right, so here I'm going to present some of the neighborhood effects. And so as we can tell that the counties has energy burdens, their surrounding county also have high energy burdens. And then of course, this is looking at spatial autocorrelations about this two factors. And that was, for example, that was October 2020. And so we show these correlations. We also found that COVID-19 deaths also correlated with the energy burdens issue. So of course, this is all fundamentally related to socioeconomic status. So we are in the process to do more analysis, and hopefully we'll get published this month. Next, I'm going to jump into electric vehicle because I think electric vehicle is one of the important features, devices. I like to call devices because it's home, because you got to plug into your house, and so it's vehicle. It's also home energy management devices. So I'm going to present you a study we conduct in Europe. So I don't need to explain too much. About the definition of electric vehicles. And one thing I want I would like to introduce is a V2G, basically using battery, basically use electric vehicle as some kind of microgrid and to power, like energy usage, at home. So this is called V2G. And so there's a cool website. You can go to this link and then you can calculate how much carbon emission reductions by using different type of electric vehicles. And because it depends on which city you are from, because it depends on the electricity generation. It could be, it could be solar, wind, or fossil fuels, and then also depends on the car's model, which year. So you can actually go in to see, if you have Tesla, how much carbon emission you can reduce. And so overall, I promote electric vehicle because definitely no matter which model, you're going to reduce more carbon emission than the traditional cars. All right, so a lot of study have talking about this factors influence electric vehicle adoptions. And here I give you a kind of snapshot of overall energy factors influence electric vehicle adoptions. It include demographics, situation, technologies, drive range, charging issues, cost, environmental attributes, policy, whether there's a rebates or tax reductions, all the psychological factors. And so this is all very important. Sorry, my slides keep jumping around. So in terms of the study we conduct, this is a study, 3 years of research project with, University of Sussex, and the PI is Dr. Benjamin Soboco. And I did a big analysis for them, and they collect the data about 5,000 residents in Nordic countries. They also have expert interviews. They also have this focus group, and then also pretend they are car shoppers and then talk to the dealers. So there are a lot of articles published from this data set. And if you are interested, I can share some of the articles with you. And so here I'm trying to analyze all these demographics, financial attributes, mobility patterns. What do people think about their conventional fuel vehicle attribute influence their EV adoptions? Are there any carryover effect from their traditional electricity to EV adoptions? And does their daily life sustainability behavior influence their EV adoptions? Here's the results I did for regression analysis. You don't need to, it's a lot of information here, but if you look at the red highlights, meaning they are significant factors. So male, younger, and surprisingly more children are more likely to adopt EVs. And then also here you can see whether you drive EV experience, you are more likely to adopt EVs. But the more cars you have, the less willing people were going to adopt EVs. Of course, the driving range, charging times, and this is interesting. V2G capability. People think that V2G is important factors. And then here we show that environmental values was a very important factors to adopt. I highlighted the blue one because they are the most important factors. Environmental value and then fuel economy, meaning saving gas, and then also environmental values are very important. Changing diet, eating less meat also influence EV adoptions. So this is the kind of taking together demographic, technological factors, and economics factor and behavior change to look at the EV adoptions. All right, so again, we see this carryover effect from the conventional fuel vehicles to this EV adoptions, and then adding V2G capability, inference adoptions, charging times is, however, is a negative related to EV adoptions, and there's a spillover effect in terms of all this sustainability behaviors, poor environmental value are all positively related to EV adoptions. All right, next I'm going to look that section. I'm going to talk about message framing and electricity savings. So we did a study about which type of message are more effective to change people's attitudes and then to boost perceived efficacy. Can I make a change to energy saving electricity? Do individuals make a difference in terms of how they react to environmental concern? In terms of different kind of messages, we break down environmental and financial and long-term and short-term messages, and to see what people think, what kind of message are more likely to change people's behaviors. So here, all right, so here is our experiment. So there's you see there are more identical, there are two identical flyer here. One is saving money long term, and one is saving money short term. So basically the same environment, and we break down. This is saving money in a year. On the right hand side, saving money in next month, and see what people think, which one is more likely to change their behaviors. Next, we have the same messages, and so we are talking about this saving environment long term and versus the saving environment short terms, and see whether the people are more likely to adopt this kind of messages. So here's our results. We found that it depends on individuals. So in general, environmental messages actually are a lot more effective in terms of positive attitude toward energy saving, but doesn't mean that they are going to change behavior. This is just that people have positive attitude, but we did not find that they actually can change people's behavior. However, short-term messages like telling people this can save energy in the short term or saving environment in the short term boosts the perceived efficacy among the lower environmental group. Here you can see lower group has lower environmental concern that actually is more effective. Higher, let's see. Short-term benefit is actually better for the lower environmental concerns. All right, so I'm going to ask some of you to answer some of the questions, and I create a poll. Let me see if I can go back. All right, so I'm going to ask you to text in terms of what are your preferences for reducing carbon emissions in terms of transportations? All right, can you make a choices, multiple choices?
Wait a second. Do I need to create a poll here?
No, you text. Did you see my? Did you see the screen text? 37607.
Oh, I see.
And make a choice. So I would like to know that what are your preferences for reducing carbon emissions in terms of transportation? Did anybody have answer? Yes, thank you. All right, we need more answers. So you can, I just want to know when you think and then what are the studies found. All right, only one answer.
Another option, if people are having any trouble with the texting, is if anyone wants to enter their answer in the Q&A, that's another way that you can send us stuff as another option.
Three 7 607 text Chien Chen. Does it work?
So I don't have a cell phone on me, so I can't try it out, but it looks like if one person may have, okay, ooh, here we go. Somebody's saying something. All right, cool. So we've got someone's entering through the Q&A. We've got A, E, G, and I.
Okay, cool. Yay. You can make multiple choices. Nobody wants to give up their car.
All right, we got another one coming in from the Q&A. We got G and I also coming in.
Sorry, my mouse is jumping around. Okay. Cool. All right. So, eco driving is our #1 choice. So nobody wants to minimize 90% international flights, give up the cards or change to the small cards. All right, let's do another one. Oops. Okay, how about what's your preferences for reducing carbon emission in terms of housing, energy efficiency? Are you willing to upgrade or buy Energy Stars or energy efficiency appliances? Are you willing to use green electricity provider might be more expensive to pay for wind or solar sources? Or are you willing to use fewer home appliances or lower your temperature in 2 degrees in winters, raising temperature in 2 degrees in summer, max switch to LED light bulbs, weather libations, use less dryers or light drying, or thermostat setbacks, like basically adjusting your temperatures while away or asleep. All right, do we have answers?
We've got one answer. Actually, there's one. So we got one that came in that looks like it includes all but the letter C, A, B, D, E, F, G, H, and I. Thank you for that one.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to present you the study somebody did, and because they rank, everybody rank all kind of behaviors, but I separate them in terms of transportation and housing energy efficiency. So because I want to make sure I don't go over time, so I'm going to show you the results.
Okay, one more vote came in here, A, B, D, F, G, and I. Again, C was not popular, nor E looks like. Thank you for those.
Thank you. Great. All right, so I'm going to show you. Okay, here is a study done by a group of researchers in Europe, and they rank all kind of behaviors. So in terms of consumptions and your sustainability behavior in terms of food consumption, housing, mobility, and I won't read through all of this, but the top number one seems to be like buy products with less or green packagings, or recycle 30% or more of your waste. Upgrade home appliances is pretty high. Eco driving is pretty high. Or give up ready-made meals, frozen foods and canned products because it produce some waste, and shift to walk or bike instead of public transportation. So on that top left-hand side are the people preferences in terms of carbon emissions reductions behaviors. And another study did 2009, a while ago, and looking at all kind of household behaviors and how much behavior can reduce energy consumptions. The weatherizations, I just want to show you the, sorry, this is my mouse. I just want to show you the top 3 or 4 weatherization, HVAC equipment, appliances, and fuel efficient vehicle are all top number. Driving behavior, carpool, apparently they are the most effective behavior to reduce carbon emissions. All right, so to sum up, basically the household behavior reduction requires a lot of policy tools, social marketing, energy community-based approach, and address different groups, like for example, represent a lot of low-income groups, and then community, they need different strategies to change their behaviors or help them to change behaviors. So all this together, we can work together to reduce carbon emissions. All right, and my talk is, I think it's about done. And the final poll, what do you think the US residents' barrier to engage climate change activities? This is just about your opinions, about other people, not about your barriers. Can we do this last one? People, what do you think people cannot engage carbon emissions or climate change activities because of lack of knowledge, uncertainty, skeptical about cause of climate change, distrust of information sources, or blamed, government, industry should be responsible than individual actors. And what do you think? All this factor will influence people's, barriers to engage climate change actions.
We have one coming in with a vote for F, G, and J.
F, G, and J.
And J, thank you for that.
Great. Cool. All right. I think this is a fun activity. I hope you do enjoy it. Okay, so I don't want to go over time, so I'm open to questions now.
Thank you. And wow, that was an incredible breeze through a lot of really interesting, fascinating, and relevant research. And thank you for that. I do have a few questions, as I always do. And I thank you also for managing to still squeeze it in with a couple minutes here. So if there is a question, or if you want to raise your hand, feel free to. I was going to ask, maybe I had a few, but let's see. Maybe I think what I'm most interested to hear is the energy justice research you presented was fascinating, and I'm curious if you are aware, if you have any sort of favorite sort of policies that might help to address some of the energy injustices that you spoke about. Or what are some solutions? Do you have any that you can mention?
Wow, this is a very tough question, because I think the energy, weatherization is a very important one. However, it just make it so difficult for low income, especially lower educated people to to get access to, because there's a tons of information, and the low income people, they are not going to find Google, that kind of thing. A lot of them don't even have internet access. So I think the weatherization program is very important, like home audit, like assistant low-income people to know how to save energy. That's very important. But the thing is, the approaches to reach out to lower-income groups is really difficult. So I cannot say this program or is good or bad. It's just like the way communicating or reach out is very difficult. That's something we should improve. Maybe use a community-based approach, or minority groups. They can reach out to their community. So yeah, so that's kind of my short answer.
And I think that's really helpful as we continue to think as part of the series about the role of individual actions in making sustainable choices, and the education that I think you're explaining. So with this research, that just that outreach is a necessary step before people have even the information to make sustainable decisions. So I don't see other questions coming in here, and we are just right at the 6:30 mark. So I think with that, I will just again thank you very much, Chien fei, for your talk tonight. I really do appreciate it, and same to the attendees. I appreciate you joining us each week, and hope you will join us again for our last presentation next week.
Yeah, thank you. I welcome any students or any of you if you want more information. I know I packed in a lot of information here, but I just can't wait to show you all the results we found.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and I'll wish everyone a good evening.
Yeah, enjoy the wonderful day. Evening, I should say evening. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.